guys, give me a few seconds. I'm gonna do the audio thingy on my laptop and then we can get started, okay? Hold on. Yep, let's do this. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel / my podcast. I am the marketing nomad. My name is Prithvi Madhukar. I am the author of 0 to 4 Figures and Self-Loved. I am a podcaster, YouTuber, Etsy shop owner, and Skillshare teacher. All of the links are in the description box below if you would like to check it out. Now, in episode 74 of What's on My Mind, we are going to be talking about how to stop being so hard on yourself. Now, What's on My Mind is a series where I share my thoughts on various topics related to personal transformation as well as mindset. Before we get into the podeo, I do have to say that I'm still recovering from flu. It's my second one in 1.5 months. Oh, I gotta say, I am totally wiped out, but I was feeling a bit chatty today, and I felt my energy a little bit higher, just a little bit, and I thought, okay, why not? I just shoot one for this week, and yeah, I'm quite excited to get into this podeo. So if I look off or I sound off, well, you know the reason why, okay? Let's get into 5 tips that I do have for you to stop being so hard on yourself. Let's go. The first one is when it comes to, how to stop being so hard on yourself. I gotta say, it's about a conscious effort. It's about unlearning the years of pattern of behavior that you've exhibited towards yourself, in the way that you speak to yourself, in the thoughts that you have, in the beliefs that you have about yourself, so on and so forth. It's about unlearning that, which is hard. It's also about relearning how to talk to yourself, how to have thoughts about yourself that are positive, that are healthy for you. It's about relearning how to show up for yourself in the relationship that you have with yourself. And so that is exceedingly frustrating. So just like with any habit, or any pattern of behavior that you are looking to unlearn and relearn a new, healthier one, the process by itself is extremely slow, okay? You've got to understand that it doesn't happen overnight. I learned this the hard way. You might wake up one day and think that, okay, I'm gonna talk to myself all amazing today and I'm not gonna be hard on myself. It doesn't happen that way. It's a process by itself, and more than it being a process, it's a conscious effort. There are going to be times where, you have to keep reminding yourself that, no, this is not the way that I want to talk to myself. And I say that to myself as well. Sometimes when I find myself in a situation where I'm being hard on myself, immediately I say out loud, I say, no, that's not how I want to talk to myself. Let's reframe that. And for me, that has been very, very helpful, to be conscious of the way that I am speaking to myself. So if that helps you, you can take that for yourself as well. I do this because I say it and I do that. So for me, the hand gesture helps me understand that, nope, yeah, let's refocus the thoughts that you're having and change that. So you can do that as well. For me, the more you are aware of what you are saying to yourself, the more you can remind yourself to not be hard on yourself or to be kinder to yourself. So it takes practice, of course, to keep being conscious of what you are speaking to yourself, the thoughts that you are having about yourself, the belief systems that you're having. But over time, for me, it's helped through journaling, through audio diaries that I have, or, even with when I'm talking to my best friends, so on and so forth, I've actually let them know, if I'm being hard on myself, please let me know. Even through that, those are different ways that you can help yourself be more conscious of how you are speaking to yourself. And I gotta tell you, very recently, I was sick again, right? I mean, I am sick again, right? So this is the second time I got flu in 1.5 months, and then I happened to say something. It was just a very random thought that I didn't even think I was blaming myself for being sick the previous time. And I was talking to a dear friend of mine, and I said, this flu, it wasn't my fault. And she said, Prit, yeah, when you fall sick, it's never your fault. And I realized that's the narrative that I had been creating in my mind, that the previous time, the 2 months that I'd fallen sick before, it was my fault, and I'd put that I was being hard on myself, right? And so, the way that she told me, it was so beautiful, so sweet, and I thought it was incredible. And so sometimes you may not be able to recognize it, but the people around you, it helps to let them know, to tell you when you are being hard on yourself. So that was very, very, very beautiful moment. It just happened like a week ago, and that's when I got the idea for this topic. And I was like, yeah, there's so many ways that we are so hard on ourselves without us knowing, and it's very, very important for us to be cognizant of that. And that conversation was just an example of that. So sometimes you may not be able to recognize it, and that's okay. But when you do recognize it, make sure that you are letting yourself know that, all right, I was being hard on myself, but let's reframe that. Let's shift the narrative a little bit. Let's see how we can shift our perspective from what we are feeling, all right? And another way that you can recognize if something that you just said was being hard on yourself or not is to ask yourself, well, if someone said this to my best friend, how would I react? And if your answer is, well, I'd be enraged, or I'd step in to protect them, or I would not like it, I would, go to defend them, then that's a big sign. That's a big sign. If someone should not be saying that to your best friend, you should not be saying that to yourself either, right? So that's one thing that I would like to put it as a rule, I guess. If you would not allow someone to say that to your best friend, you should not be saying that to yourself as well. So you should be reframing those thoughts, beliefs, as well as actions also that you may be taking against yourself. Okay? So that is number 1 for you. Number 2 is, when it comes to, being hard on yourself, the reason why we are so hard on ourselves is because there's a layer of judgment, a very, very thick layer of judgment that we tend to put on ourselves with respect to our thoughts, our actions, our beliefs, our feelings, so on and so on, how we are showing up in different situations, all of that. But when you remove that layer of judgment, that's when we learn how to be kinder to ourselves. So for me, the way that I see it is removing that layer of judgment comes with self-acceptance. Understanding who you are as a person, not to fix yourself, but just to accept, just to let yourself be, is a very, very good way to stop being hard on yourself. I have actually had to learn this myself, because before I would learn my patterns of behavior to fix myself. That was the sole purpose. Like, I have to fix this, I have to do this, I have to, no. That's okay to an extent, but there should also be self-acceptance along with self-transcendence. There has to be a healthy balance between the two of them. So understanding that you take the time to observe yourself, take the time to see who you are as a person, not to fix yourself, but just to say, okay, this is who I am in my entirety. Strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, beliefs, what else? Flaws, quirks, so on and so forth. All of that put together, this is me today. I think when you come to those levels of self-acceptance, it helps you be a lot less hard on yourself, because you understand that, all right, this is me today. I could be evolving. Tomorrow I could be a different person, but today this is me, and I've got to accept that. An extension of that would be understanding that the fundamental truth is it will take you time. It will take you time to get to whatever outcome you're looking for. It will take you time to get to wherever you want to be. It will take you time to learn from that mistake. It will take you time to learn something new. It will take you time. It will take you time. And I'm going to repeat that again, because it is absolutely true. It will take you time. And most often, it is going to take you longer than you expected it to. And so having that compassion towards yourself, understanding that it is always going to take you longer than what you expect it to, and that's why you need to give yourself that leeway. That's why you need to be a lot kinder to yourself. It has also been one of the reasons why I have learned how to be more cognizant of the way that I am reacting to the person that I am. All right, so I think it comes with levels of self-acceptance. Like the more I think about the last 4 years for me with my self-love and my healing journey, the more I've accepted myself, like, yes, this is how I make mistakes. This is my reactions to these situations. These are my triggers. This is how my thought process is about this particular topic. This is my belief system, so on and so forth. The more I have been accepting of that, it's a different matter that I could be evolving in any one of those aspects, but just accepting that this is where I am today. This is the speed at which I go with. This is how I learn. This is the speed at which I learn. This is the number of times that I make the mistake with varying degrees of, I guess I would say, correction. Then just learning that about myself has been a beautiful experience. And more importantly, it has helped me be a lot less hard on myself, at least consciously. Okay? So that is number 2 for you, accepting who you are. Number 3 is something that I want to call move from here. It is something that I implement for myself. So oftentimes the reason why we're so hard on ourselves is because we are so focused on what we've done in that moment of time, like our thoughts, our actions, or how we reacted to the situation, so on and so forth. So for me, one thing that I understood was, all right, what if I shifted my focus away from now and shifted it to the future? All right, so what if I said, all right, it's okay, what's done is done. How do I move from here? So that's the point that I do have for you. I'm smiling because this came as it was a very funny way that this came about, because when I started out with my self-love and healing journey, I didn't know how to be kind to myself or how to be less hard on myself. I mean, these things aren't really taught, right? And it's different for each person what you perceive as kindness towards yourself. It's going to be a little bit individualistic. Yes, there are overarching themes of kindness and affirmations that you can tell yourself, but other than that, you yourself will have individualistic needs, wants, desires, and perception of what is kindness towards you, what love means to you, like being loving towards yourself and being not so hard on yourself, so on and so forth. And so I didn't really have a good starting point at that point. So for me, it literally came like this. I'm like, okay, fine, it's done. I'm not gonna be hard on myself. Like, how do I move from here? So that's how it came about. And I realized that it was actually a fantastic way for me to divert my attention from being hard on myself and just focusing on, okay, well, we're just gonna take this as a consequence and how to deal with that and then move forward from that. So my thought process became less about what had been done, but more about what I had to do, how to get out of that situation, how to correct my course, so on and so forth. So the way that I've written over here is it really shifts your focus from what's happening to what you can do, how to get out of it, what to do next, so on and so forth. So that's one situation where you are eliminating the need to be hard on yourself because you're shifting your focus, okay? So that is the move from here, one that, yeah, I did it out of a panic state, but it's been very helpful for me and I hope you can use it as a starting point for yours, all right? Then we come to the 4th one, which is not true. Why? I love this, okay? So for me, sometimes when I'm being hard on myself, they are, yeah, it's baseless, but when you are actually experiencing it, like when you are being hard on yourself in that moment of time, it can feel true. It can feel true. Whatever you're saying about yourself, whatever you're thinking about yourself, whatever you're believing about yourself, it can feel true. So in that moment of time, I always ask myself, this is not true. Why? So one thing that I have read on the internet, and of course I think there are lots of papers on this, you can Google it as well, is from birth we are programmed, like our mind is programmed to answer questions, to find answers to questions like what is your name, what is your parents' name, how old are you, and then as you grow older, what do you study? We have been programmed to answer questions, and so when you ask your brain the right question, it automatically starts looking for answers. So every time you find yourself being hard on yourself and you feel that it is true, twist the narrative, okay? Say, this is not true. Why is it not true? And then your brain will automatically find reasons why that statement is not true. It happens on a very subconscious level. That is the power of the subconscious mind. There are tons of articles on this. You can go read it up. But it's true. We are programmed to answer questions. And so our job is to ask the right questions. The right question is to tell yourself, this is not true. Whatever statement that you have about yourself that you're being really, really hard about, tell yourself, that's not true. Why is it not true? And then you're going to find reasons. Probably you're going to, for example, let's give you an example. Maybe you think, oh, well, I'm not fit for this job. I never have been. I can never do this. You might go into that pattern of thought. Stop yourself at that moment in time and say, that is not true. Why is it not true? Automatically give yourself some time and space. And you yourself, you're probably going to figure out a few achievements that you've done that have contributed to the reason why whatever it is that you feel about yourself in that moment of time is actually not true. All right? So for me, the fourth thing is just stopping yourself in that moment of time and saying, that's not true. Why is it not true? And then giving yourself reasons why that statement is not true. Because sometimes in that moment, you can get a little bit swept up. You can feel like it's true. It happens very, very subconsciously. It's just how it is. It's just the power of you talking to yourself. And I think that's also one reason why it's so important to be cognizant of how you are speaking to yourself, because the relationship you have with yourself is the longest one you're ever going to be in. Day in and day out, the person you speak to the most is you. And so as a result of that, because it takes up a majority of you, that's also invariably how you see life, how you show up in life, how things present themselves to you, so on and so forth. And so for me, when you can cut that thought short, you can say, nope, that's not true. Why is it not true? Let's give myself reasons why that is not true. That's just you, the circle is going and then you just stepping out of the circle. So it can go on its own, but you are out of it and you're trying to kind of reverse it, I guess I would say, or stop it in its tracks before it can spiral out of control. All right, hold on, I'm going out of battery space. Give me a second and I'll get back. And so, back. And so, when you challenge your negative thoughts, when you say, nope, not true, that's not true, why is it not true? What you're essentially doing is you are stopping the cycle and you are finding evidence for yourself to believe that, hey, that's not true. I'm going to believe what is actually true. And that's like, either through the achievements that you've made so far or reflecting on situations where you actually, did not do whatever it is that you are being so hard on yourself, and so on and so forth. So for me, sometimes it's difficult because you're in that energy, it's just so powerful, you being hard on yourself, and it's hard to get out of that. But when you tell yourself, nope, that's not true, and I'm going to find reasons why it's not true, you are giving yourself the evidence you need. You're giving that hard-boiled evidence that you need to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get out of this negative cycle. Okay, it also gives you the courage because you now have evidence and you know that whatever thoughts that you're having about yourself when you're being hard on yourself, it's baseless, right? So that also gives you the courage to be kinder to yourself. Okay, so that was the fourth one for you. Now let's get to the fifth one. And this is something that I've actively been working on for 4 years now, and that is reparenting myself through gentle parenting tactics. And gentle parenting is not permissive parenting. I just want to put that out there. There are tons and tons of experts on gentle parenting. I highly, highly recommend just taking a look at what gentle parenting is and using it as a way to reparent yourself as an adult. For me, that has absolutely changed a lot of the way that I speak to myself as well. And I've written a little bit about this in my notes over here, but the foundation of gentle parenting is based on unconditional love and acceptance. And it's basically valuing and loving the person regardless of their behavior. And I find that to be so powerful. And so something that I've been actively working on is gentle parenting tactics and techniques on myself. And one of the things that gentle parenting actually teaches you is that every behavior has an underlying need behind it. There's always an underlying need behind every behavior. And so when I find myself in a situation where I'm about to be hard on myself, I just ask myself, well, okay, this was my behavior at this point in time. What is the underlying need behind that behavior? And I found that it works. It actually works for me. And I think I gotta say, there are a few channels that I personally follow. If you would like to know more about them, please definitely do ask me. I'll put that in the comment section below. They are genuine experts that I feel, and I know that they talk about parenting for a child, but frankly, I think gentle parenting extends to every kind of relationship. It's just how to be a good human. And for me, when it comes to reparenting, it's how to be a good human to myself, to be kind to myself, to be accepting of myself, to show myself unconditional love. So that is one thing that I would highly recommend, to understand like gentle parenting and to use those techniques onto yourself, to reparent yourself as well, because I do understand that sometimes we may have gone through circumstances in our lives that have made us so hard on ourselves, and I've been through my fair share of it. But when you understand that it is never too late to change the narrative, it is never too late to start being kind to yourself, to stop being so hard on yourself, to stop, I guess, following what you may have been taught to be, or to be a certain way, or the way that you may have been taught to talk to yourself, so on and so forth. It's never too late to change that. And one thing that I've written over here is gentle parenting. It believes that it's not mistakes, but it's rather every action has a consequence. And I think that itself makes things a lot lighter on us when we stop perceiving things as mistake or not a mistake, mistake or not a mistake. No, it's just, yeah, I made that decision. This is a consequence. It's not favorable to me right now. I don't like that consequence, but it is still a consequence that I have to deal with. Shifting my mindset to that also has made me be a lot less hard on myself when I find that a particular behavior of mine has led to a consequence that I'm not happy about, okay? So that is also one more thing. And the last thing that gentle parenting actually does is it acknowledges feelings, and I think that's important for everyone, not just children. All right, so yeah, that's one tip that I would give you. Like, understand gentle parenting, understand the techniques. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm not an expert in that. I too am learning as I'm speaking to you, but these were the few things that I've picked up and that have really worked well for me. And I've been reparenting myself for 4 years now, and I gotta tell you, it's been hard. I have to tell you. But at the same time, it has really opened my eyes to my needs as a person, and my desires, my wants, and how to cater to them. And the more I'm cognizant of how to cater to my needs, the more I'm able to share it with the people I love. And, rather than expecting them to figure it out or to know it magically, yeah, I've actually, through reparenting myself and understanding my needs, I've actually been able to build more fulfilling personal relationships. Yeah, that's how I would put it. Okay, so yeah, and I think every one of us, we deserve that. We deserve kindness and compassion towards ourselves, from ourselves. I think that life is a journey of discovering who you are through whatever experiences that we go through that may or may not be in direct correlation to our actions, our thoughts, our behaviors. It's just understanding who we are. And in that process, being hard on yourself, it's just very unnecessary. I think it's very, very unnecessary. It's not at all required. And we might as well discover ourselves with kindness and with love, with compassion. I think when you view life with just the goal of understanding yourself, of learning about yourself, I think that just creates a healthier dynamic between you and yourself, because now you're not putting pressure to be a certain way or to get a certain outcome or to find yourself in one place magically. No, this is just a journey of you discovering yourself, you learning more about yourself, and the more you view it that way, I think the more you enter into a fulfilling relationship with yourself. All right? So one thing that I've written over here is you are doing your best. You are doing your best. I'm doing my best. Person B is also doing their best. All right? I think the more we accept that about ourselves, I think the easier it becomes to be kinder to ourselves. We're just doing our best. We don't have some sort of map on how to go through life. There is no blueprint, Each one of us, given the circumstances that are surrounding us, given the situations we find ourselves in, our luck, our fate, the factors contributing or working against us, so on and so forth. There's so many things that are very unique to each one of us, and we're all just doing our best navigating through that. No one has it all figured out. And when you understand this, that no one has it figured out, no one needs to have it all figured out also, okay? I do want to put that out there. It's just an experience of you learning more about yourself, you understanding yourself, you being one with yourself. The more you can feel that about life, the more you stop putting unnecessary pressure on yourself to have it all figured out, to be a certain way. And the more you can remove that layer of judgment that, I don't know, I feel it comes with just societal pressure and how we are taught to be. But I think the moment we break free from that and we say, nope, this is me, this is how I do things, this is how I make mistakes, this is how I learn, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are my quirks, these are my flaws, this is how I'm evolving. I think the more we can accept that, I think the healthier the relationship becomes with ourselves. All right? So yeah, this is where I want to leave this podeo. I guess I also do want to say that you've got to be your biggest cheerleader, okay? You've got to be your biggest cheerleader. End of story, bar none. Because one thing that I've come to understand is in life, you've got to be your support system first, and everybody else who are lucky enough, you are lucky enough to have in your life as your part of your support system have to add to that. You've got to be your happiness, everybody else adds to it. You've got to be your biggest cheerleader, everybody adds to it. You've got to be your support system first, and then everybody adds to it. That's the healthiest way to go about it. Otherwise it becomes more unpredictable. At least this way you have more control. You have a factor that you're counting on that has been consistent and has been showing up for you since the first day of your life, and that is you, right? So for me, I think that just brings me comfort that I'm my happiness first, and then the people in my life who I'm lucky to have, they add to it. Then I'm my biggest cheerleader, and then the people in my life who I'm lucky to have add to it. I'm my support system, and then the people in my life who I'm lucky to have add to it. I think that it brings me a lot of comfort, and frankly, it takes away the burden on them, and that's a burden that they shouldn't carry. People in your life who love you, yeah, they shouldn't carry the burden of being your cheerleader, of being the ones, they should only add to what you can provide for yourself. All right? Yes, so that's how I would want to end this. If you liked this podio, please do give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a podio. Other than that, well, my 2 books are on Amazon. My first book is 0 to 4 Figures, Lessons Learned by a Broke CEO. That's got 61 stories and lessons from the first 3 years of my digital entrepreneurship journey. It covers topics like self-love, marketing strategy, business strategy, positive mindset, growth mindset, success mindset, relationships, so on and so forth. My second book is Self-Loved. It is a compilation of 1,000 journal prompts aimed towards healing, growth, and self-discovery. It's got topics covered like trauma healing, inner child healing, manifestation, gratitude, self-reflection, so on and so forth. Those are available on Amazon. Other than that, I've got a series of productivity planners, journals, and trackers. They are the Simple series from, my brain fuzz, the Simple series by The Marketing Nomad. And at the moment of publishing this podio, there are 18 of them available. And there are different ones. They're like 5-day work weeks, 1-day project planner, 1-page project planner, so on and so forth. There are a couple of them. And if you want to check out more information about them, you can definitely go on Amazon. Search my name, Prithvi, space Madhukar, and then you'll get an author page for me, and then it will all show up. Yeah, I can definitely feel my energy draining out right now, so I am going to stop this podio. But thank you so much for listening all the way up until here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye-bye.